whole week since me and Nithin have been in the studio. But a lot has happened in that 1 week. So much has happened. We're just going to jump right into it. But I have a question first for you, Nithin.
Yeah.
Now that Illinois are Big Ten tournament champions, does that by de facto make us the best Big Ten student radio show in the Big Ten?
Ooh, I like the way you put it. I'm gonna be impartial. There's a lot of good radio shows out there.
Probably.
And there's no rating system currently in place.
At all.
But you know what? Why not?
I think we are.
Let's just say it.
I think we are. I'm going to give it to ourselves. Why not, Illinois went out there and did their thing in Indianapolis, winning their first game against Rutgers by 22? 68 to 90?
68 to 90.
Then they
whoa, Brendyn. Before we dive too deep into it.
What do you got to say?
I just got to ask you something. How was your intramural game?
Okay, listen. I was so frustrated. So me and Nithin play in the ARC intramural league. For anybody who's not on campus, that's the Campus Recreation Center intramural leagues. And they put it on. This is the first time since last year when it was shut down for COVID reasons. First time they've had basketball intramurals. And me and my team travel all the way to the ARC. I live on the whole other side of campus. Travel all the way to the ARC to play a game. And the team we're playing doesn't even show up. They don't even show up.
Same thing happened to me.
Really?
Same thing happened to me, but we ended up scrimmaging the other team that was there.
I saw you
had the
playing.
same thing happen.
Yeah, I saw you playing.
Yeah, that sucks for you.
Did you guys lose?
We won, but we all played terribly.
Yeah, I feel that.
Did you didn't even get to scrimmage?
We didn't even get because there was 3 teams in our league that showed up to play at our time section, and the other 2 teams had the game against each other, and there was just nobody else for us to play. It was very tough. So your game did you guys both get a win? Both teams?
Yeah, so the 2 teams that were playing in the game, we both got wins.
But you got to play.
But yeah, we got to play.
That's
and
good.
We won, so it's like an exhibition win, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, good for you that you won. You got the experience. But my God, we were out there so mad because all we wanted to do was play basketball, and they didn't even show up. Like, why sign up if you're not going to show up?
Yeah, I got to file a complaint also to the ARC because when I was trying to enter, because it was after hours.
Yeah.
The doors were locked.
They didn't plan ahead. The people that I was playing with came a little early, and they called me. They're like, "What are we like? How are we supposed to get in?" Luckily, by the time I was there, they put a guy out there who was there checking Safer Illinois app. So I think that's probably what they'll do again next weekend. But I guess it's just Sunday night at the ARC. This is the first time they've had intramurals in a year. I don't know if they were just ready for it. Yeah,
and I'm guessing the reason why teams didn't show up is just because Illinois won Big Ten championship. There may have been some extracurricular activities.
You got to go out there. Illinois did their part on the Big Ten championship stage. You got to go out there and do your part on the intramural stage.
Yeah.
Or are you really even a part of the university?
Exactly.
But I'm glad you got that exhibition win, and I'm glad we both got the actual win in the win column.
Both 1-0.
We're both 1-0. Me and Nithin are hoping that we can see each other in the playoffs at some point. That would be phenomenal, and we'll keep you updated if that happens in 5 or 6 weeks, however that works out. But back to the real hoopers on campus, right? They go in on Friday, play a Rutgers team that beat them earlier in the season when Illinois was faltering a little bit, and totally handle them. I think they had 6 assists the whole night. They weren't able to get it going at any level. They weren't able to stop Kofi Coburn. They weren't able to stop Andre Curbelo. They weren't able to stop a lot of guys. And Illinois routed them 22 points. It was never really in question. Then the next day, they suit up to play Iowa, what we thought was going to be maybe the biggest rivalry in the Big Ten this year. Still some moments, still some rivalry moments, but not what we thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Wasn't a bad game by any means. They were questionable. There are times where you question, okay, is Illinois going to be able to take care of this? But I think Iowa got within 5 in the second half, and then Illinois was able to keep it pushing. I think beat them by 10 or 11.
Yeah, it was 82-71.
82-71. So another very impressive win. Kofi Coburn played really, really good defense. You can just tell how much he's progressed as a perimeter defender. So shout out to him. I know he's really worked on that, being such a great interior defender, trying to push that out, being, playing one of the best perimeter big men in the nation right now. And then comes the Ohio State game, where at the beginning of the game, Illinois was just dominant, man. Nobody could stop Andre Curbelo. They really couldn't stop Kofi Coburn. DeMonte Williams came out. I know I tweeted he looked like Ray Allen with some of the shots he was putting up.
He did.
Everybody was firing on all cylinders. And then to close the first half, Ohio State started making a run, and then it was pretty close throughout most of the second half, and then Ohio State came back, forced overtime. Audisumu tried to hit Damian Lillard's sidestep.
Definitely wasn't the Audisumu game we expected.
Wasn't the way we thought it was going to go. But hey, I mean, he's put together so many moments. Just because, they still won the game, but just because he wasn't able to hit that shot or some shots before that, you still got to give him credit for keeping them in the game. Goes into overtime, and slowly but surely Illinois builds that lead and is able to overtake Ohio State and win the Big Ten championship.
That's it was, as I mentioned, like Io definitely didn't have his A game. Kofi had his moments, but it was weirdly the Georgie game, especially in the second half.
Jesus, Georgie, every 6 games will remind us why we love him so much and why through his freshman year he was all of our favorite player. Why we thought he was just gonna be the guy, and he shows that in moments even now, and that's amazing. He had 3 baskets in a row, 2 of them in a row were and ones. Really kept them in the game when Ohio State was making a run. Without Georgie Bashanishvili, they would have lost that game. And looking back over these last 2 seasons, I don't know how many games, maybe 2 or 3, that you could actually say that.
Yeah, the other big game that I point out to, even though it was a loss, was the Baylor game, where Georgia was phenomenal in that first half.
Yeah.
And the Illini really needed it, and that's why Illinois.
What did he score, 13 in the first?
I think so.
Yeah.
And Illinois just needed that offensive performance then. And they needed this one because Kofi gets in foul trouble. And there's some questionable calls.
Definitely.
I mean, but there always are. So what can you do? And Georgie he gave a 6-minute stretch that was unbelievable. And it allowed Kofi to stay on the bench. And I kind of was okay with Kofi sitting even towards the end of the game.
Right.
When Brad Underwood stuck with that lineup and didn't feel like he needed to put Kofi in another awkward situation.
Because he kept Kofi out for the entire game until Georgie then fouled out on the and one basket that tied up the game for Ohio State. But yeah, I don't think you can say enough about Georgie Bashanishvili coming in and we've seen him in moments be a guy that, digs a hole for Illinois. But for him to come out in the biggest game of all of their career so far and really show up and show out, there's nothing more you can say about Georgie Bashanishvili. He does a lot for Illinois, even though it doesn't always seem like it. And that day was a day that he did it. After the game, Selection Sunday happened. Illinois got that first seed, overtook actually Michigan in the race for who was going to get that first seed, so to speak. So they are number 1 seed in the Midwest region, on the same side of the bracket as Baylor, who is at number 2 first seed. Get to avoid the undefeated Gonzaga until potentially the national championship, which is very nice. Potentially can see Baylor again in the Final Four if both teams keep winning. But Baylor is not the same team that we thought they once were. Yeah. They've had losses to Kansas, and they lost to Oklahoma State. Those are their 2 losses. But yeah, Illinois will start off on Friday against Drexel. Should be hopefully a good game. I don't know. This is I've never cared about a team so much going into March Madness. So I'm always scared to be like, oh, this should be an easy win for Illinois. But anytime you ever won a 16, you kind of hope it's that case. But I mean, we saw 2 years ago with Arizona and taking that loss in the first round. But
yeah, I think they were a 3 seed then.
Yeah.
But yeah, you never know.
Yeah. But Nithin texted me this morning with a phenomenal idea.
Oh, yeah.
Today, me and Nithin are going to sit through this bracket of 64 teams, 68 teams if you count the first 4, which we will talk about. And see, we're gonna make an Illini Drive bracket, and we're gonna put it up, and we're gonna see week by week if we are how correct we are. Honestly.
Yeah, it'd be kind of cool if this does better than both of our individual brackets.
Probably will. I mean, I don't know.
It's all a crapshoot.
It is really me and my family will probably do one. I know we did one 2 years ago.
Okay.
The last NCAA tournament. I said NCAA. That was weird. That's like 4 A's.
Hey, it's Monday.
We did one. I watched college basketball. 2 of 3 of my brothers watched college basketball. Both my parents watched college basketball. But the one who got the best bracket was my little brother, who does not like watching sports at all.
See, that doesn't surprise me.
It
doesn't surprise me.
It just happens, right? So let's talk about it. Let's get into these first 4 games. I am a pen to paper guy, so I have I printed out my bracket.
You're so smart. I'm using just my computer.
Right, of course. I think I'm going to hang this up over there until they tell me I can't.
Brendyn, I'm so jealous of you right now because I really miss doing that. I don't have a printer, which is part of the problem.
My roommate has a printer, so I was able to get through it.
How do you want to do this? You want to do the top half of the bracket, and then the bottom half. We'll do top half, take a break, bottom half, take a break, go to the final four. Sound good?
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's do that. So, first four. We have the first 16 game. It's Norfolk State versus Appalachian.
Oh, I was not prepared for this. The first four games we're picking too.
All right, do you want to?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Let's do it, bro. Let's do it. Why not?
I know nothing about these two teams.
Me neither. That's what makes it interesting.
I'm going to go with Appalachian State.
Really?
Just because of their upset in football. What was it, like 15 years ago against Michigan? What do you think?
Norfolk State just won their conference championship. I saw it on ESPN. I couldn't tell you what conference it is, but they have less wins, less wins only by one, but less losses by 4. Probably because they, had some COVID pauses, whatnot. But
they also did beat Missouri the last time.
They beat Missouri?
The NCAA tournament. Yeah.
Not this year. I thought you meant this year.
No, not this year. That was the 215 upset, I want to say, in like 20.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Kyle O'Quinn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was wild because Kyle O'Quinn, that was his only offer. I recently rewatched that interview. But I'm also willing to pick Appalachian State because
I don't have a strong opinion on this though.
Me neither. Okay. But just because our new offensive coordinator for Illinois football recently was coaching at Appalachian State. So let's pick Appalachian State. Why not?
Let's go for it.
So that'll be the 16 team that we pick. Damn. Next game, Wichita State versus Drake, which I think is going to be really good. Tell me about it.
Wait, am I looking at this bracket right?
Which one are you looking at?
I see Oklahoma, Missouri next. Oh, wait. See, I forget that we're doing the
right. We're doing it like this. Yeah. It's weird.
All right.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, I apologize.
No, I just wanted to get through the first 4, and then we could go.
We should have coordinated this maybe a little better.
But it's okay. It's a Monday.
All right. So the game is. I am still looking for it. It's just tell me.
It's Wichita State versus Drake, which is the 11 matchup.
Okay, Wichita State. They beat Houston earlier in the season. Drake, the third to last undefeated team in the country. Was ranked at one point, and then kind of fell off a cliff, especially losing to Loyola, I believe, 3 times.
Yeah.
What are you thinking, Brendyn?
I think I'm happy for Drake that they were able to get in. Loyola is just a team that just runs that conference. But losing to them 3 times is kind of telling.
Yeah.
Wichita State, though, I mean, have always had great history, especially.
Yeah, I'm feeling Wichita State, too.
I'm feeling Wichita State. Yeah, give me Wichita State, man. Love it.
The Houston win just stands out to me.
Yeah, man.
Houston's the 2. I believe they're a 2 seed. Yes, they're. I mean, they're in the Illinois region. I should know that.
Going to the other 16 matchup, you have Mount St. Mary's and Texas Southern.
I mean, I just want to choose Texas Southern just because the historical ramifications with Texas Southern.
Okay,
but. It's the 16.
Yeah, it doesn't really.
I don't really have an opinion.
Bam. I like Mount St. Mary's.
All right, let's go for it.
Get out of here, Texas Southern. And then the last one, Michigan State, UCLA.
Oh,
that's another good one. I want to pick Michigan State.
I kind of want to pick Michigan State
because they had that week and a half where they beat Ohio State, Illinois, and Michigan.
Yeah, but my concern is that they're not playing them in that first game, and we've seen them lose twice to Maryland in that time frame.
Yeah. I don't know. But UCLA hasn't
Michigan
had the
State.
competition.
Let's just say Michigan State.
Okay,
because we're going to want to probably pick them later.
Yeah, exactly. All right, now we're back to the 64 bracket, and we can start on the same side that all these first 4 games would affect. So we got Gonzaga versus Appalachian State.
Yeah, it's no question. Gonzaga.
I was gonna make the argument for Appalachian State, but there's no reason to. Hopefully, I mean, if Gonzaga loses, I think that's gonna mess up our entire bracket because we both probably see them going pretty.
Yeah.
All right. Next game. Write that out. Oklahoma versus Missouri. Be a good game.
Yeah, it's 2 good teams, and we saw Missouri earlier. They've tailed off a bit, but they're really.
They were up there, I think, ranked 12th at one point.
Yeah, and Oklahoma, I think, was 7th at one point.
Oklahoma was high too, middle of the season.
I'm a little bit more partial to Oklahoma in this case.
I think they have a little bit more high end.
They do. Austin Reeves.
Yeah, Austin Reeves is really good.
They got a lot of good guard play surrounding him.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to pick Oklahoma in this matchup.
And when Illinois saw Missouri, it just wasn't the same Illinois team that we see now. It wasn't a great.
And it was only Io in that game.
Pretty much. All right, let's pick Oklahoma. Oh, I'm just gonna abbreviate these. Creighton versus University of California, Santa Barbara. This is a lot of people are picking this as the first upset.
It's not a bad pick.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Brendyn? Because Creighton hasn't looked great.
They're also having some off the court issues. UCSB, they're this small school, Santa Barbara, but they've played really, really good. They also, I forget his name, but have a really, really good defensive guard. And I think it could definitely be.
They have the conference player of the year.
Yeah. And
they went 18-1 in conference.
Right.
Which that's no slouch.
Right. And I think 22-4, I mean, like, obviously they're not in a great conference, but still, like, they're winning games. Are we picking this as the first upset?
I feel like it. Let's do it.
UCSB advancing. Then we got Virginia versus Ohio. We saw Ohio earlier this year with Jordan Preston, and he almost 30 and 10.
I mean, he outplayed Io.
Yeah, 100. He was the best player on the court.
Yeah.
And I mean, if it wasn't for some like late game situations, which Illinois came out in front of, would have given Illinois their first loss of the season. Ohio has played really good. They are definitely a tournament team.
And on the other end, Virginia's had some COVID issues.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't look great down the stretch. They just got kind of fortunate that Florida State looked pretty bad and gave away the conference.
Exactly.
I want to go Ohio in this one.
We're picking two upsets in a row.
Jason Preston's going to go.
Why do I keep saying Jordan Preston? Give me Jason Preston and Ohio beating Virginia. We've seen enough of Virginia these last couple of years.
Yeah.
Now, the first game that we picked for first four, USC with Evan Mobley and Wichita State.
I'm feeling USC on this one.
Definitely.
Really top-end talent.
100%.
The Trojans, I could see them going to the Sweet 16.
Mm-hmm. And then we have Kansas, Eastern Washington, Kansas, who recently beat Baylor, one of the best teams in the country. I think you got to pick Kansas, right? They have the history.
Yeah,
there.
the one concern is that they have similar COVID issues.
Right.
So we don't know what they're going to look like. But I would, based on what I know now, I'd agree Kansas.
100% Kansas. Put them in there. Mark them in. Next game, Oregon versus VCU.
Mm-hmm.
Not huge knowledge on either of these teams.
Yeah, me neither.
But
you want to flip a coin?
Let's flip a coin.
All right, I'll just pull up.
All I know is the Pac-12 in basketball never scares me.
Yeah, they don't, especially this year.
Even in football, a weak conference.
Okay, what do you want to say?
Oregon, I'll call it it's heads is Oregon. Let's just do that.
Okay. It is heads.
Heads, Oregon. You advance this time.
It's a very scientific way of picking it.
Yeah, I think so. And then we have the first Big Ten matchup.
All right, well, let's just say
Iowa. I was going to win. Okay, cool. IOWA. Love it.
So should we stick with this region?
Oh, yeah, let's stick with this region. Let's win it out. Going back up to the top, Gonzaga versus Oklahoma. I think this could be a really good game.
Yeah, I don't see Gonzaga losing it, though.
But I don't see Gonzaga losing it. But I'm glad I think that they can get tested, right? That's the big thing about Gonzaga is that are they going to get tested? Because they weren't tested heavily throughout the year. I think looking at their schedule, they ended up playing 4 teams that were ranked at some point. So if they're going to get tested through, I want to see them tested through before I pick them for my championship game when the Final Four runs around.
Yeah, and Oklahoma's been in a lot of close games this year. They've just kind of lost.
And they play in the Big 12, which is probably the second best conference behind the Big 10, I would assume.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. UCSB, Ohio, both these games came to upsets. But I think UCSB with the Conference Player of the Year, I think they're going to take this.
Oh, I think Ohio.
You going to flip another coin?
Yeah, we're going to flip another coin for this one.
I love how we're picking this, man.
Yeah. Wait, why don't we just say top seed?
Top seed is heads.
Okay.
So that would be UCSB.
Ohio.
Yeah,
tails came up.
Take it, Jason. And then USC versus Kansas.
I feel like Kansas is going under the radar a lot this year just 100%. Because they're not Kansas as usual. They're not like last year's Kansas.
And they started off kind of rough.
USC, they had some quality wins, and then they kind of tapered off towards the end of the season. I tend to go Kansas in this.
I'm down with you. Yeah, definitely. And then Oregon versus Iowa.
Iowa.
Yeah. It's looking like maybe we see an Iowa-Gonzaga matchup.
Yeah.
From a rematch from earlier in the season. Gonzaga versus Ohio.
It's got to be Gonzaga.
But I hope Jason Preston puts up 40.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Jason Preston,
He's
Suggs.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Gonzaga going into the Elite Eight, and we have Kansas versus Iowa. How are you feeling about this one?
So the real question is, can Iowa play defense in this game? And I think that's obviously a big question throughout the season. It's probably what's going to come down to in this matchup. I don't think Kansas has too many bigs to match up with Luka Garza. I tend to lean Iowa in this matchup.
Definitely. Let's do it. I'm all for advancing the Big Ten team. Makes us look better.
Yeah.
And then Gonzaga versus Iowa.
It's got to be the Bulldogs.
You think so?
Yeah. We saw it earlier in the year.
They just can't defend how good. As good as Iowa's offense is at times, they can't defend how good Gonzaga's offense is. And that's a problem.
The formula for Iowa winning this game is just everyone gets hot.
Right.
You get Jordan Bohannon, who hits like 5 threes.
Who scared me at the beginning of that Iowa game against Illinois.
Wieskamp, who we saw go off especially early, has another phenomenal game.
CJ Frederick has to be shooting well.
Yeah, you spread out the floor, and then Luka can take over because I don't think Drew Timme is going to be the greatest matchup against Luka Garza.
But who is,
Exactly.
You taking Gonzaga?
Yeah,
though?
I'm taking Gonzaga.
Let's take Gonzaga. Gonzaga going. Back to the bottom of this bracket. Michigan State versus Mount St. Mary's.
Michigan.
Why did I say Michigan State? Because they're lower.
They will come up later.
Michigan versus Mount St. Mary's.
Michigan.
Michigan. I think this is going to be a big Michigan bracket. I mean, they are hungry. They've had some tough losses in these last few games, but they're still. I mean, I think they're going to be without Isaiah Livers, or they were at least for the rest of this tournament. I don't know when he's coming back. That's going to be a big thing, though.
I think they said like a week. Did they confirm if he's?
I don't know if they confirmed it, but if he can come back for the Big Ten tournament, that's going to be huge. I really hope he does. I mean, Isaiah Livers has dealt with injuries his whole career at Michigan, and you hate to see a guy that's that good not be able to play. And we got LSU versus St.
Bonaventure.
Why do I always say that? How are you feeling about LSU?
I honestly haven't watched much.
Yeah, me too. I want to pick LSU just because Sharif O'Neal is on the team.
All right, fair enough.
Let's do it. But he doesn't play that much. Colorado versus Georgetown.
Very interesting matchup. We got the bid stealer in Georgetown versus Colorado, who lost to Oregon State in the title game.
Colorado has been ranked pretty much the entire year. Georgetown.
They've been in and out.
Well, they've been on the bubble in and out the entire year. I think they ended 20 something, or maybe they fell out because they lost to Oregon State in the bracket that came out this morning, or the poll that came out this morning. But Georgetown is hot off that tournament run. I know they're feeling themselves. They're feeling good.
Give me the Fighting Patrick Ewings. That's what I'm feeling.
The Fighting Patrick Ewings. Is it crazy that just 10 years apart almost, Patrick Ewing and Allen Iverson played in Georgetown? What if they played on the same team?
It's insane because Georgetown, we forget how good they were in the 80s and 90s. The talent was nuts. And the last good Georgetown team was the Otto Porter team.
Yeah.
So it's been a while.
It's been a while. Maybe this can be their thing because I do like Patrick Ewing as a coach.
Yeah.
I remember when he came to State Farm Center and beat Illinois. Florida State versus UNC Greensboro. Got to take Florida State, right?
Yeah, but I don't feel good about Florida State.
Yeah, I don't feel great about Florida State either, but I also don't feel good about UNC Greensboro.
Yeah, I mean, they won their conference tournament, but I don't know. It's just the Florida State, their whole season, it was under the radar. We beat Virginia, we're peaking.
Right.
And then we disappointed down the stretch. We lose to Georgia Tech in the title game because of turnovers.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It is tough. I'm with you. I think I can pick Georgetown in the next one. BYU versus Michigan State.
This is tough. I want to say Michigan State.
I do too. I really want to.
I watched that BYU Gonzaga game, and it honestly doesn't help with my pick because BYU was phenomenal to start that game, and then they completely fell apart. Gonzaga just took their clamps and just covered it. And I think I'm going to go Michigan State too. I don't know if BYU has the offensive talent.
The thing that worries me about Michigan State is they were able to beat Ohio State, Michigan, Illinois. And that's because these are teams that they're very familiar with. Yeah. And Izzo is very familiar with coaching against these teams. Are they going to be able to replicate some of that success in the NCAA tournament against teams that they might not be comfortable with, play styles from conferences that they might not be played with? But I'll pick them for the first one.
He's definitely familiar with BYU center, Matt Harms. So.
Yeah, exactly. I totally forgot about that guy. Huge, man.
Mm-hmm.
Texas versus Abilene Christian. Taking Texas, right?
Yeah, I'm taking Texas.
Cool.
Just won their conference tournament. Big 12, second best conference.
UConn versus Maryland. This is going to be interesting.
Give me the Huskies.
Really?
James Bouknight?
Yeah.
Oof, that man's cold.
I think it'll be a good game, though. And then Alabama versus Iona.
I don't want to take out Rick Pitino already.
Are we doing going to be gone soon.
Are we going to do it?
I'm taking Bama.
Yeah, we have to. I mean, it's the 2:15.
Yeah, it's going to go that way, probably. And then we got back at the top, Michigan versus LSU. Got to take Mich, right?
Michigan, yeah.
And then Georgetown versus Florida State. Are we sticking with Patrick Ewing?
I want to stick with Georgetown.
I'm doing it. GT. Michigan State versus Texas.
I don't really love either of these teams, to be honest.
Yeah, me neither. But I do like I don't love Texas a little bit less, if that makes sense.
Okay, I'm gonna let you take this one.
I'll take Texas.
Okay,
give it to me. And then UConn versus Bama. Why do I feel like this is upset?
I kind of want to take UConn too.
Let's do it.
I kind of want to take UConn too.
I thought I was gonna be alone in this.
No.
I love it. I felt like it had been a while since we had a significant upset, and we had to pick one, right? Then we got Michigan versus Georgetown.
Michigan.
Yeah. Sorry to not be fun, but it's Michigan. And then Texas versus UConn.
I want to go UConn again.
Let's do it. Why not for the Huskies? Take it. Their women's team is phenomenal.
Although Gino Oriema.
I know. I just saw that. That's going
to be in that first round.
Hopefully none of the players were also contact tracing.
Especially Paige Beckers.
I know. She's so cold.
Yeah.
And then Michigan versus UConn in the Elite Eight.
So I want to take UConn. I'm guessing you want to take Michigan. Because I just think this is one of those
Convince
games.
me on UConn.
So this is the Bouknight game. This is the Kemba Walker game where he just decides, I'm taking over. It's going to be like a 55-52 deficit with 6.5 minutes left. And then Bouknight just completely takes over.
Imagine Illinois Twitter if that happens to Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to see that. I'm going to just look at Illinois Twitter and be like, all right, guys, we're playing an Elite Eight game in like 20 minutes. Let's focus on that.
Yeah. All right, I'll take UConn, man.
Wow, okay.
I'm with you, man.
Have to flip a coin on that.
Nah, you convinced me. Nithin, it doesn't take a lot to convince me.
All right,
all right. That will lead us to two of our Final Four teams. When we get back, we're going to pick the rest of the bracket. Please stay with us. Please follow along on your bracket on Illini Drive, 107.1 WPGU. Welcome back to Illini Drive on our bracket prediction episode. Don't know when the last time we've done it, probably 2 years ago. They probably did something like this. But me and Nithin nobody's outpicking our bracket. I can already tell
and we're going
now.
Fully through the bracket.
I'm feeling good on this, man. Like I think we picked a decent number of upsets. We have the right teams winning. We have the big games. I'm ready for it. Let's do the South and Midwest sides of the bracket. We're gonna go from top to bottom as we did before the break. We have Baylor versus Hartford.
Baylor.
Give me Oh,
come on.
I'm kidding. I kid. Baylor. They're a scary team. They have had a rough patch recently, but still have only lost 2 games in the season. Definitely, I think it's going to just run their side of the bracket until they see Illinois. North Carolina versus Wisconsin. This is an interesting game because we've seen Wisconsin I feel like they've won all the games they were supposed to win in the Big Ten.
Exactly.
But they lost all the games that could have pushed them to another level, right? And this is a team that at the beginning of the year was ranked, what, 4th?
6th, I think, right?
I thought they were 4th. Iowa was 5th. And Illinois was 6th. Maybe they were 5th. Iowa was 6th. Okay. We were 7th.
They were a top 10 team.
They were a top 10 team in the nation to start. They have not had the success that they thought they were going to after the run that they had last year winning the Big Ten. But North Carolina.
Kind of similar. And they didn't have the success that Wisconsin had last year. They had a very off year last year. Also, the difference is they've beat some of the better teams in the ACC, notably Florida State.
Mm-hmm. How are you going with this one?
I'm leaning more towards North Carolina just because I have a sour taste in my mouth from Wisconsin because they've been super unimpressive throughout the year.
Every time I've watched Wisconsin play, there's like nothing that screams elite to me, except for Demetric Trice in the last 2 minutes of a game. But yeah, I'm totally with you to pick North Carolina. They have the experience. They
also
coaching.
have bigs, which
bigs.
Wisconsin has struggled with.
Mm-hmm. Going down, we have Villanova versus Winthrop. Love that name, by the way. Are you taking Nova? Or are you taking Winthrop with only one loss?
I'm feeling Winthrop.
Really?
Because
it's another big upset people are talking about.
Because Nova doesn't have Colin Gillespie, as has been brought up throughout. That's a big loss. I mean, They lost to Georgetown in the first round. Granted, Georgetown wins the Big East tournament, but they didn't even win a game in the conference tournament. That's concerning.
Down with Winthrop. Purdue versus North Texas.
Purdue? I'm feeling Purdue. What about you?
I'm with that one. I like Purdue. I feel like they're not underrated, but I feel like the Big Ten was so good at the top that they are just a little bit under the radar of the Iowas, the Illinois, and the Michigan, but they're still a really good team. Then you got Texas Tech versus Utah State. I have a soft spot for Texas Tech.
Yeah, same.
Cool.
They're kind of similar to Oklahoma in a sense where they had some early season success. And then they lost some games, but they never really got blown out. They were just in a lot of close games, and they lost them.
And they were playing in the conference tournament and lost to who's that? They just lost the Big 12. They lost by it was free throws, literally. At the end of the game, that put them in a bad situation, but it happens. Arkansas versus Colgate.
I'm kind of feeling Colgate with this one.
I'm down with you.
Arkansas has been playing really well. That is worth noting. I think they won their last 11 conference games.
You want to flip a coin?
Yeah, I think that would be best.
Arkansas's heads.
Yep. Tails.
Ooh.
Okay. Colgate
moves on. Bam. Florida versus Virginia Tech, which I think is going to be another good game. How do you feel?
Honestly, I don't really have a huge opinion of this game. I only watched one Florida game. It was that Florida-Tennessee game.
Right.
I wasn't super impressed, but I wasn't unimpressed.
Which
I know really helps us right now.
100%. You're so
dead
set on it.
Yeah.
Now. Let's take Virginia Tech.
Okay, let's do it.
ETU. Ohio State versus Oral Roberts.
Give me Ohio State.
Oh, I thought you were going to say give me Oral Roberts.
Nah.
I was going to be like, I'm with you, man. OSU. Going down to the game that everybody cares about.
Oh, wait, we got to finish this region.
Oh, I don't know what I'm doing right now.
It's all good.
Baylor versus North Carolina. Let's take Baylor.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're on the same page with Baylor. And then that Winthrop-Purdue game.
I feel like I don't know enough about Winthrop.
Me either, and it scares me. But I also, Purdue, while I think that they're a good team, also don't scare me. If that makes sense.
Yeah, but they got good players, especially inside with Zach Edey and
they've had a tough schedule.
Yeah, and they played really well in the Big.
I meant to pull up Ken Palm, but you know what? It's whatever. I'll take Purdue for this one.
Okay,
we'll talk about Ken Palm a little
later. Texas Tech, Colgate.
Give me Texas Tech.
Yeah, Mac. I feel like he'll go off in that game.
PT. Then Virginia Tech versus Ohio State. Are we taking Ohio State?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. This is scary. And then bam, Baylor versus Purdue. I think it'll be a tough game for Baylor, but I think Baylor comes out. Probably
I just think
7-point win.
It's going to be one of those games where Purdue just goes inside the entire time because, let's be honest, the guards for Purdue just aren't going to be able to go off the dribble, and that wears and tears on your bigs.
And then Texas Tech versus Ohio State. I think it's a huge EJ Liddell game.
Yeah, this is kind of fun because both teams have guys. Like Derek Culver is going to play this game. I mean, Ohio State definitely with Dwayne Washington. That Mac McClung matchup is going to be fun.
Dwayne Washington almost ended Illinois.
Yeah, I mean, he does this. He just makes insanely tough shots.
Their first Michigan game that they played, he also scored 30.
Yeah.
He's a bucket, man. But I'm going to take Ohio State. I think EJ Liddell gets 25. I think Dwayne Washington also gets 25.
Yeah.
And it's just, with two guys scoring 25, how do you stop it? Give me Ohio State. And then, bam, Baylor versus Ohio State.
This might be like the game of the tournament.
I think it will be.
Because these are very well-matched up teams, and they each do kind of similar things, but also different. Like Baylor's defense, obviously, is much better than Ohio State's, but they play a lot of smaller lineups, 100%. Just like Ohio State.
Are you going to pick Ohio State?
I think I'm leaning Baylor, so should we flip a coin?
Let's flip a coin.
Okay.
Let's do it. Why not? Heads Baylor. Tails Ohio State. It's Baylor.
Tails.
Ohio State. EJ Liddell at the buzzer. I'm calling it right now. That's wild. So that means OSU is the first Big Ten team in the Final Four for Illinois. And if Illinois is to win out, if me and Nithin predict that, it means that'd be the fourth Ohio State-Illinois game of the season. And that terrifies me. Illinois versus Drexel. How are we feeling about this one?
I actually played high school basketball with a guy that's on Drexel. Shout out Matej Juric. He was great in high school. Oh, he was nasty. But the thing was, his jump shot was not great. Like, mine might have been better. And I do not have
a shooter. Hey, you give yourself some credit. Brendyn, you're a shooter.
No. I went 0 for 4 from 3 last night. I'm not feeling my shot.
Hey, it was the first time you probably played a 5-on-5 full court basketball game. You know what? But did you go to the free throw line?
No. I went 2 for 9, 2 layups.
Hey, you're getting back into it. Even the best had their games. I didn't even play a game, so I can't even.
But back to the original point. That dude had the nastiest cross. He was so quick. He was like my height, but just had insane ups. It doesn't matter. Illinois is winning.
Okay, cool. I was like, where are you going with this, bro? Loyola Chicago versus Georgia Tech.
This is tough because it feels like neither of these teams should be seeded at this spot. Like, it feels like Loyola should be like a 4 seed.
Yeah.
And Georgia Tech should be like a 6 seed.
I think it's just tough for Loyola because being in the Missouri Valley, like, they don't see a lot of great competition. Yeah. But I mean, Ken Pom, they're up there as well.
Ken Pom, Net, even the AP poll likes them a lot more than
they're man. And that's why I'm going to take Loyola.
Yeah, I'm going to take Loyola.
Also, I mean, there's only one sister Jean.
And come on, Illinois, Loyola, that is the Illinois matchup.
I feel bad because I guess the conversation isn't who's Chicago's team. It's like who's Chicago's Big Ten team. But I feel like Loyola doesn't get talked about enough. And I think in the last 5 years, they've done a lot.
Part of it's, though, football, because there is no football team. It's just basketball. Although that run 3 years ago was special.
It was wild.
It got Chicago basketball is not a college basketball city.
Right, exactly.
And the city definitely rallied around them.
They were able to rally around that. And then the DePaul women's team was also really good at that point. So it was like, man, like, actual college
basketball back in Chicago.
I mean, Illinois is bringing basketball back. Like, I have friends from Chicago that have never cared about Illinois sports that are texting me, man. Oh, Iowa's nasty. Oh, Kofi is nasty. It's like, I noticed. I've been covering them for 3 years now.
But we knew this last year when I was hitting step back jumpers against Wisconsin.
It's nice that now everybody at Illinois is looking into it, and I don't know. I just wanted to share that. It's really cool to see. Tennessee, Oregon State. Oregon State just coming off of that conference championship.
I kind of just want to ride with Oregon State for the game.
They're hot, bro. They're hot. Yeah. Love it. Oregon State. Bam. The Beavers. Oklahoma State versus Liberty. And we'll talk about Oklahoma State later, but that is the team that, from an Illinois point of view, that scares me the most in the entire tournament.
The Cade Cunningham situation? Yeah.
Not only just Cade Cunningham, but at the beginning of the year, they were a little iffy. In the last month, the entire team has really stepped up and played really, really good.
Oh, yeah.
And they obviously just beat Baylor. And, I mean, they're 4 seed for a reason. And they have who's going to be the number one draft or number one drafted player in the NBA this year. So they scare me.
Yeah. You could also argue that if they beat Texas, they might be like a 2 seed in the tournament.
Yeah. They have close games, right? Yeah. And they lost 2 games to TCU, I think. That if that didn't happen, I mean, they would have been up there in the rankings.
Beat Oklahoma twice. That were impressive.
Really, really good team. Really, really good team. So I think we're going to pick Oklahoma State.
Yep.
State. Bam. San Diego State, who is a sleeper for a lot of teams, or for a lot of people, and Syracuse.
I like the Cuse just because the 2-3 zone always messes with teams.
Really? That's surprising.
What about you?
I like San Diego State, but I mean,
let's flip a coin.
Okay, let's flip a coin, but I don't not like Syracuse. I mean, they had huge history. I mean,
yeah, and they've played well down the stretch. Let's flip the coin. Tails. There's a lot of tails.
Wow, Q's beating San Diego State, which a lot of people have going far. So
I promise I'm not cheating in this.
I'm watching them flip it. I hear the clicks.
I'll give you a better angle if you want.
West Virginia versus Morehead State. Give me West Virginia.
Yeah,
they're just really good.
Miles McBride, that dude's nasty.
Bam, and then Clemson versus Rutgers.
Kind of want to pick Rutgers.
I kind of do too, man. Ron Harper Jr., man, shout out to him. He is just a bucket getter. Houston versus Cleveland State.
Houston.
Cleveland? Oh, no, I'm just kidding. I'm messing with
Trying to pull off, what was the Ohio State team? And Oral Roberts on me?
Yeah. And then going back to the top, Illinois versus Loyola.
Illinois.
I think that's going to be a good game.
I think Kofi just dominates Cameron Krudwick inside.
Yeah.
Krudwick's really good.
He's a really good player, but I also think that
it's Hunter Dickinson-esque.
Right.
And not as big, which is a problem.
Which is a problem. But I also think that how many big guys is he really facing in the Missouri Valley like that? So he might be one of the biggest guys, most skilled guys in the Missouri Valley, but he doesn't have to play guys like Kofi Coburn often. I think that's just a domination game for Kofi.
He's not going to be able to play any defense against Kofi. And then on the flip side, when's he ever going to get an open look?
100%. So as long as Kofi stays without a foul trouble, I think Illinois takes this game pretty handily.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Loyola, but my loyalty's right in Illinois. Oregon State versus Oklahoma State. I think this is...
We have to see the matchup.
I know, but it scares me, man. It scares me. Because if anybody can do it, it's that team, man. Oak State, bam.
Yeah.
Syracuse versus West Virginia.
West Virginia, I'm
feeling it as well. WVU. Rutgers versus Houston. Which I think is going to be a good game.
I accidentally picked Cleveland State in mine, so I'm like, wait, did you pick Cleveland State?
I was like, huh? I think Rutgers versus Houston is going to be a good game, but I'm leaning towards Houston.
Yeah, Houston's got a really good defense, so I think that's going to be very valuable.
Back to the top. Illinois versus Oklahoma State.
Oh, man.
This is the one that on some of my brackets, I don't know about this one yet. We haven't come to a consensus. On some of my brackets, I'm going to pick Oklahoma State.
Come on.
I know.
Brendyn, come on.
My main one, I'm going to pick Illinois. Right? I want Illinois to win
Brendyn,
the whole thing.
Don't say it here.
But there are universes, maybe not this one that we sit in right now. There are universes out there that Oklahoma State beats Illinois in this tournament.
Oh, my God. Brendyn, why are you doing this to me?
I have to.
Why are you doing this to me on air?
The Illinois fan in me is coming out where I see, man, they're not really going to do it. And I think for the last 4 weeks, I've been saying, I'm just like, okay, like bracket predictions are coming out, all this, all that. I was like, if they can avoid Oklahoma State, I'm very happy.
I said the same thing about West Virginia.
And now they got to see possibly both of them. So we can both pick Illinois. I am ready to pick Illinois. I think Illinois is the better team overall.
Let's go with the college fans' perspective, which they're picking Illinois every time. The NBA guys picking Oklahoma State.
And both me and Nithin are NBA guys. But for today, we're college guys. Give me Illinois.
Yeah.
Ayo Dosunmu closes out Cade Cunningham.
First Elite Eight since 2005.
Yeah, that's wild. Ooh, that scares me. I hate looking at the Oklahoma State. I hope they get upset early. Yeah. West Virginia versus Houston. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling West Virginia because
they're just good, man.
That West Virginia offense is nice.
Really good.
It's nice.
And then the game that 2 games in a row, me and Nithin both wanted to avoid.
Yeah.
But it's here. It's here, Nithin. Why are you scared of this West Virginia team versus Illinois?
So I'm scared because we've seen what happens when Illinois plays against high-powered offenses. We saw it against Iowa the first time specifically, where Iowa, if they didn't really crumble down the stretch, they probably could have won that game.
100%.
And then the Ohio State games, where every single Ohio State game is nerve-wracking.
Very scary.
So I just don't love these offensive-minded teams, and that's what West Virginia is. I mean, they have some of the best shooters in the country.
Yeah.
And with Miles McBride, you have a go-to guy. It's going to be 2 great matchups, one-on-one matchups, with Ayo Dosunmu versus Cade Cunningham in the first matchup against Oklahoma State. Then you're going to get Ayo Dosunmu again versus Miles McBride this time. It's a lot of fun basketball.
So who are you picking?
Oh, come on.
You
baby.
know what it is.
We know.
Oh,
ILL,
man.
baby.
ILL to the day we die. Now let's do the Final Four right here.
Yeah.
Big games. If you forgot about our other side of the bracket, because we haven't talked about it in 25 minutes.
It's been a while.
UConn is just killing people.
They've been dominating.
They beat Maryland, a 7-10 matchup. They beat Bama, the 2 seed, the first 2 seed to go down. Then they go and beat Texas, a 3 seed. They're feeling their best.
The Big East is back.
The Big East is back. Then they see Michigan. Great matchup. They win that game.
Yeah, Book Knight just
dominates for the last 3 games. Yeah. Nobody can stop them. But then they see Gonzaga. Nithin, how you feeling about this?
So this feels like similar to Duke, Michigan State 2015.
Yeah.
Where Michigan State was riding on a high.
Yeah.
They're a low seed. Travis Trice, Brendan Dawson. Those 2 were just leading the way for an underrated Michigan State team. And then they saw Duke. And Duke just blew them out.
Yep.
And that's what I'm feeling with this one.
Bam, Gonzaga in the national championship game.
Yep.
But I like our pick because I don't know how many years it's been like it's like a streak, but there's always a team that's a 4 seed or below. And we have that. And
yeah, so last tournament it would have been Texas Tech, I believe. Because Auburn was what? 3 seed, I want to say?
I think so.
And so it's Texas Tech, Michigan State was a 2 seed, and then Texas Tech I think was a 5 seed. So there are typically, that.
I'm feeling it. I like your UConn pick, though.
Thank you.
Now, Ohio State, Illinois. This game terrifies me.
This game terrifies me, maybe more than Baylor. Somehow.
Probably, because I think that there's history between Illinois and Baylor this season, but there's not a lot, right? And there's not the history of close games, right? Illinois can look at that game back there and be like, you know what? That was a different Illinois team, man. We're not the same. Curbelo's better. Trent is playing better. Monte Williams is playing better. Audasumu is more
Kofi
complete.
Coburn will hopefully not get in foul trouble.
Kofi Coburn knows not to foul anymore.
Yeah.
Georgia Bashaniashvili is riding that high that I think he's going to have throughout the rest of the season.
Jacob Grandison
being inserted into the starting lineup has completely changed the makeup of this team. But then they see Ohio State, who they almost just lost to at the end of the season, and almost just lost to at the Big Ten tournament championship. And doubt starts to creep in, especially if they win now. Since the Michigan State loss, that was 4 games and then 3 games. That's 7 games, 8, 9, 10 games in a row. To see Ohio State after a 10-game win streak, a team that has almost beat you twice and has beat you 1 time after a really bad first half. That's tough. And it scares me. But who am I not to pick Illinois?
Yeah.
Who are we not to pick Illinois when 2 years ago this team got booted out in the second round of the Big Ten tournament by Iowa? Who am I to not pick this team when they have proven all of our doubts wrong about Illinois sports in general? To go out there and to get a first seed after in the middle of the season, me and Nithin were contemplating if they even really deserve to be ranked at one point.
Yeah.
Who am I to doubt this team, man?
You can't doubt this team because we've doubted this team as much as we possibly could have.
We are doubters.
You
could even at some point consider us haters, right? You could even at some point consider us haters. And I'd take that chip, because I was. Now, I said on the radio show, me and Nithin, a few weeks ago, I remember this, when they almost lost to Indiana after Iowa got fouled out. I said, without Audasumu, this team would be very comparable to Indiana, a team that did not make the tournament.
And I agree with you.
And you agreed with me. And since then, they weren't listening to our radio show.
No.
But they might have been listening.
They're more comparable to Michigan.
Exactly. But they were listening to the doubt, and they proved them wrong. The 3 games that Audasumu wasn't going to play, I thought they were going to go 1-2.
So what you're saying is we made Andre Curbelo, is what I'm hearing.
Yes. Absolutely not. Andre Curbelo's been a hooper since he was born. But what I'm saying is they take doubt better than any. They take doubt from their own fans. They take doubt from everybody else, and they turn it into a 1 seed in the tournament. And they have shown us at every stop that this is the reason that they're here. And they showed us last night, and they showed us on Saturday. They showed us on Friday. They showed us when they beat Michigan without Audasumu. They showed us when they beat Wisconsin without Audasumu, and they showed us when they beat Ohio State in the last game of the season. They're going to show us again in the Final Four and beat Ohio State, and Kofi's not going to have foul trouble with EJ Liddell. And that's the biggest key to this game. Yeah,
and in that stage, we're going to get those 2 or 3 shots where EJ Liddell is wide open. Has a chance to either tie the game or take the lead from 3. And our hearts are just going to be
to the screen.
Yes, they are going to be pounding.
Hands are sweating right now, and this game isn't even a certainty.
It's really whether he can make that shot, because there's going to be those opportunities. I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm sweating from thinking about it, just like you, because it is, if we talk about Ohio State, Baylor being the best matchup to that point, Ohio State, Illinois is going to be the best matchup to that point. Of course, we got to ride with the Illini.
Bam, already wrote it in, man. Love it. Illinois beats this team with some miraculous, just late game situations. I'm sure you saw this on Twitter. I forget the name of the guy, but he was like, man, after watching that game, I just know Illinois has some chemistry issues. I don't know if you saw that clip. It was some guy talking about Illinois and Io taking a few of those last shots that, the outside viewer may be like, oh, you shouldn't have took that shot. That was a stupid shot.
About the Ohio State game?
Yeah, about this game yesterday. they prove all the doubters wrong. I would assume who hits the shots that he might have missed against Ohio State last night or yesterday afternoon, and he takes this team and he leads them to a national championship where they play Gonzaga. It's boring. It's a 1 seed versus a 1 seed, something that maybe a lot of people predicted, but it's what happened. And me and Nithin are feeling it.
Yeah.
April 15th is this game.
April 5th.
April 5th. Yeah, my sheet's really small. April 5th is this game. I was like, April 15th sounds so late.
Yeah, that is late.
April 5th, that night, national television. Everybody's watching Gonzaga play Illinois.
Jim Nance on the call.
Jim Nance on the call.
Friends.
Whew. Friends. Illinois beats Gonzaga.
Yeah. Why not? I mean,
What?
Why
I just gave you guys a whole speech. Who am I to doubt him?
We got a minute and a half, so let's
break
it down a little bit.
So you got
the Ayo Dosunmu Jalen Suggs matchup.
Love that matchup.
That is
2 pros.
I think Ayo's the guy that's got to win that matchup.
100%. And I think he wants to.
Yeah.
This is a guy that everybody has above him in the NBA draft for a good reason.
Yeah.
But he's also a guy that I was like, I'm better than you.
I'm better than you right now. I don't care about the NBA draft.
Let's do it, man.
Then there's a lot of interesting matchups that go beyond it. So Trent Frazier, Joel Ayayi.
Mm-hmm.
My guess is honestly Trent Frazier is going to guard Suggs
probably
in the matchup. But Trent Frazier, Joel Ayayi. Ayayi's super underrated.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of people don't know about him. He's averaging I think 14 a game, shooting like 60% from the field.
Huge.
It's been phenomenal. It's can just Trent and can Ayo limit that backcourt defensively. Then we go to the forwards. Corey Kispert versus DeMonte Williams. This is the one that concerns me.
Of course.
Because Kispert is probably a second-team All-American. If I had to make a guess, he's arguably the best player on this team. I mean, there's a lot of guys in the mix for that argument. But DeMonte's a spot-up shooter at this point, and that's fine. He's a 3-and-D guy. If he can have a similar performance to Ohio State, great. That you'll take 10 days out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
What does he do on Kispert? Because if he gives Kispert an inch of space, it's gonna be tough.
Mm-hmm.
And then the biggest matchup of them all, Kofi Coburn versus Drew Timme. Very different bigs. You got Drew Timme, the Kevin McHale-esque big that's very skilled down low. He doesn't like to take it outside, but he's got any post move to match your defense. And then Kofi Coburn, Shaq, the big dude, inside, ready to block every shot, ready to dunk on you. I think the way Illinois wins this is if Ayo and Kofi win their respective matchups, and then you get just a great three-point shooting performance from everyone else. Andre Curbelo fills in those gaps.
Yep.
You need your defense to show up because Gonzaga is the best offensive team in the country. I guess you could consider Iowa, but I would tend to lean Gonzaga right now.
I agree with you 100%. I think that not only does Trent Frazier need to play great defense, which he has all year, I don't doubt he will. He also needs to shoot the ball well, which he's been up and down this year. We've seen him in games, Nebraska. We've seen him in the first Wisconsin game. Just shoot the lights out. We need that. We need somebody who's not going to be afraid of the moment, and I think Trent Frazier is that guy, right? I think Jacob Grandison and DeMonte Williams have to both play crazy different defense on Kispert. He's like that. He is like that, and you have to be able to defend him throughout the entirety of the offense, and you have to be able to give him points on the wing to consolidate that. So I need Williams to be able to score from three, right? I need Grandison to he makes hustle baskets, which I love about Grandison. He gets putbacks. He fills gaps when he fills lanes when he's cutting. He scores that way. Huge game for him. I think he's going to need that big game. And then Andre Curbelo off the bench, man, he's going to need to have a similar game that he had the first few minutes of this Ohio State game, right? The game that he had against Rutgers. And then I think what's going to really come down to, are we going to see a Georgie run like we saw against Ohio State? There's going to be a game. There's going to be times in this Gonzaga game where Illinois is like backs to the wall. They're scoring a lot of points. We're kind of keeping up, but it's looking like we're losing momentum. Is Georgie Bashanis really going to be able to fill that role? Be those score when he needs to score, not put up stupid shots, pass out of the post if it's not there, hit open shooters. And that's what it comes down to. They need to play. If they play Gonzaga in the national championship, they need to play their best game of the season, which would probably be maybe like Wisconsin.
Better than that.
Michigan. They're going to have to play like Michigan and add a sprinkle of Io.
Yeah.
And it's going to come down to the end. It's going to be a March Madness finale like none other. But I think Illinois wins this game.
So, Brendyn, on my bracket, there's a score.
Oh, you're bold.
Yeah. Why don't you pick Illinois score? I'll pick Gonzaga's.
Okay. So, thinking about Illinois score, what they're going to have to score to beat Gonzaga. 87.
87. Okay.
I don't want to write the score on this though. It makes me nervous.
So thinking about that, Gonzaga's going to score a lot of points in this game.
Yes.
And that's also going to be close. I'm going to say 84.
Mm-hmm.
It might come down to a last second shot. An Ayo Dosunmu send off.
If he does that, man.
That's the statue. That is the statue then.
That's the statue. Oh, God, man. Getting me excited.
Yeah,
this game's a month away.
Thinking about it.
Man. Well, that is our official Illini Drive bracket. Join the show tomorrow for Gabby and Josh. And then me and Nithin will obviously be back Wednesday to finish off the week before Illinois plays their first game on Friday. But for me, for Nithin, this is Illini Drive at 107.1 WPGU.